Everyone in my life is sympathetic to my husband's infidelity and think I should forgive him. I have cancer, and throughout treatment I have been too unwell and stressed to want time. As such, my husband decided to seek it elsewhere. When I found out, I confided in my parents, who told me it was fair that he wanted to get time somewhere else if I wasn't doing my duty and giving it to him, and I should cut him some slack because he's been caring for me and financially supporting me through this time. My friends and other family members also have this view. I don't think there's anyone in my life who would see it as reasonable not to forgive him. I'm shocked and so angry at them, but especially at my husband. I can't leave while I'm in treatment, unfortunately, and it scares me that I'm relying so much on the person who made such a cold decision to hurt me while I'm at my lowest. Update: I decided to try and reconcile. He cheated almost immediately, while I was in hospital. One thing I've learned during my cancer journey is that a staggering amount of men will cheat on their cancer-stricken partners. While I was too unwell to have time, my husband, apparently incapable of using his hands, wandering. When it all came out, I was pressured into staying with him. Many people in my life believed his infidelity was understandable because of my inability to perform my wifely duties. There was also the problem that I was relying on my husband's health insurance to treat my cancer, so divorcing him wasn't really on the table unless I planned to fund the rest of my treatment through GoFund. God bless America. We separated, but we're talking about possibly trying again. About a week ago, I agreed to try and reconcile. I told him to buy a flashlight, and that if he did it again I would leave him. Well, while I was in hospital for some tests, he invited some lady over. I got home earlier than expected, and drove up to see her leaving the house. She hadn't realized he was married, figured it out immediately upon seeing me, and confirmed to me that he had cheated on me. He hadn't even waited a week. He was apologetic but tried to justify it again, still claiming that he needs time and doing it himself just wasn't enough. So I guess it's definitely over. We're staying married so I can still access treatment, but he will be moving out. I think deep down I knew he would cheat again. I just didn't want to believe it. Update: as it turns out, I will not be surviving infidelity. My husband cheated on me around a year ago because I was too unwell to sleep with him due to my cancer treatment. I tried to reconcile with him, and he did it again almost immediately. Prior to this, my treatment was going quite well. My prognosis was optimistic. Afterwards, not so much. The tide turned and suddenly the treatments weren't working anymore. The cancer was found in my lungs, and began spreading more aggressively. 2 weeks ago I was told that further treatment will only extend my life, not save it. My cancer is terminal. I made the decision to stop treatment, and begin considering my options for end-of-life care. I truly believe my husband's infidelity caused this. Throughout my cancer journey I have been told that I need to minimize stress and remain as optimistic as possible. The mind is a powerful thing, and our willpower can sometimes make or break the effectiveness of the treatment. I think when my husband broke my heart, he also weakened my will to live just enough to make a difference in giving the cancer the upper hand. I will never know for sure, but I am convinced if my husband hadn't cheated, I would not be terminal. ETA: no religion spirituality-based support please. Update: tonight, he finds out I know. I accidentally found out on 10/31/21 that my husband cheated on me while we were dating and is still in contact with, and at the bare minimum still flirting with, the woman he cheated on me with. I've spent the last 2 weeks processing this information, grieving the relationship I never actually had, and planning my next steps. I've talked to therapists, lawyers, and God about it. And now I'm ready to confront my husband. Tonight he finds out I know. Update: it went both better and worse than I thought it would. First of all, I want to say a heartfelt thank you for the many Redditors who commented on my post and gave me support and advice. I decided on the direct approach. I started with, I have something really difficult to talk to you about, and I don't know a good way to ease into it, so I'm just going to say it. It has recently been brought to my attention that you cheated on me while we were dating and have continued to stay in contact with this person and flirt with this person to this day. And I don't know what to do about it. Then I braced myself for denials, gaslighting, reverse interrogation, and trickle-truthing. He paused, looked me in the eyes, and proceeded to spill his guts. I asked questions to keep him moving along. He would disclose something and look at me for my reaction, and I would just say, "And then what happened?" And he would tell me the next part. He did ask me how much I knew and who told me. I responded that those things didn't matter. What mattered is, would he be honest with me now? Would he share it all with me or not? And then he plunged back in. It was a physical affair up until the point he decided to propose to me. After that it was an on-again off-again emotional affair. He owned it all. He didn't blame me for any of it. He said she meant nothing, picked up his phone and deleted her contact. He told me she was out of his life forever. He told me he was committed to me and building a life with me. He said he recognized toxic behaviors in himself that he was repeating from his childhood. He recognized he in many ways had turned into his narcissistic father and that it horrified him, that he doesn't want to be that person and he wants to learn healthy behaviors. He apologized for hurting me, recognized the deep betrayal this was and that it would take years to fix if it even could be fixed. He said he wanted to start IC immediately and continue MC and that he was committed to becoming the partner I deserved. Then he asked me if I was willing to work with him, or if I was done. I told him the truth. I walked into that conversation done. That I expected him to make it easy for me to walk away and that he hadn't. I needed to think about it. I had a session with my therapist today and we talked about how it went and how I felt. We talked about my fears that he means it now but that he won't have the mental fortitude to actually do the hard work necessary for change and after 3 or 4 months he will be back to his old self. She validated my fears as real and probable, but also pointed out his sincerity. He truly was sincere. I remain unconvinced of his capabilities to deliver on real change though. After last night with him and speaking with my therapist today, I've decided to adopt a wait-and-see approach. I will wait and see what he does and if he can really put his money where his mouth is. I will wait and see if trust can develop and if love can survive. I feel relieved that it's out in the open now. I didn't realize quite how heavy carrying the weight of it was until I put the burden down last night. I'll do another update after our MC session next Wednesday. Otherwise known as the session in which my husband will be responsible for disclosing his affair and building an action plan for reconciliation. Thank you again for your support and kind words. They truly made all the difference for me. Update, I'll take it. I've been pretty real in sharing my pain and challenges on this forum, so I thought it would be a good idea to share the joy and healing as well. As we all know, R is full of ups and downs. Right now, things are up. The last 5 days have been really great. My WH has been making a huge effort to show me love in ways that resonate with me. There has been quite a bit of rebuilding going on. I'm still dealing with intrusive thoughts, but because of the work he's been doing, I've had more positive recent experiences to fall back on and think about instead. And that's part of my job in this processing grief and pain and recognizing the good. Basically, the love he has been showing me has helped to temper the pain. I don't know if this will be sustainable long term. I've shared with him my fear that once I start to let my guard down more and things start feeling more normal, that he will go back to old habits. Not necessarily cheating, but not taking an active role in sustaining and improving our relationship. He tells me he hears me and he thinks the best way to resolve this fear is to just continue to show me his commitment. I agree. For now, I'm enjoying the extra I love yous, the forehead kisses, the hand holding, the snuggles, the initiative in planning dates, the sweet compliments, and the extra SX. Hysterical bonding, y'all, haha. We still have a long way to go. I expect lots of dips and detours along the way. I expect more pain, more heartache. But I'm hopeful for more love, honesty, and relationship-building experiences as well. Last week, I had a lot of moments that felt helpless. Today, I'm hopeful. I'll take it. Redditor's reactions. Redditor 1. These types of posts are just as important to this sub as the ones expressing frustration and hopelessness, emo. It's important to focus on the positives when big efforts are being made on their part. It can be so difficult to live with the knowledge of your partner's infidelity that hopelessness becomes an unwelcome familiar guest. That's no way to live. It's a natural reaction, but the self-effort has to be made to reach for happiness and joy again, as much as that necessary effort on a BS's part may seem unfair sometimes. I often think that, since I'm not responsible or my partner's terrible decisions, I shouldn't have to do any heavy lifting of finding my joy again. It should be completely up to him. But that's just the hurt little child in me saying that. It's always been my responsibility first to look after my own happiness, regardless of whether others are willing to contribute to that with loyalty and honesty. So when a WP makes those efforts, it really can be something to build on. I'm happy to read that yours is doing that in meaningful ways for you. Don't give up. Answer. I agree with all of this. Both the WS and the BS have work to do if R is going to be successful. For my part, I'm trying to be completely vulnerable with him. For example, I let him know when I'm feeling angry and why in a non-angry, non-combative way. That's hard. I tell him when I'm feeling really sad, or if something triggers me. It gives us an opportunity to have real talk and build connection. And it gives us an opportunity to rebuild trust. Every time he reacts in love, a little piece of our relationship is rebuilt. Redditor 2. When you have bad days, and you're right, you're going to have bad days, try to remember how you feel now. It won't stop the day from being bad. I don't think there's anything that can do that, but it can help you get through the day. Your WS is doing the right thing right now. He's showing evidence that he understands what will be required for reconciliation. The statement about how his actions are what's going to matter is a good sign. Answer. Thanks for your comment. I'll try to remember this in the hard times. And I agree, his statement was a positive sign. Redditor 3. I ask myself all the time whether it's worth reinvestment. Answer. It's so tough. Some days the answer is yes, and some days it's no. I watched a TED Talk that basically said that if you're trying to decide whether to stay or to end the relationship, that every day you can rank how you're feeling from 1 to 10. 1 is I want out right now. 10 is I'm so happy, I never want this to end. Keep a list, and after a few months, you have the data to look back over it and you can see the pattern. Are you just having a bad day? Or have you been ready to leave for a long time? I like the idea of having real data rather than trying to go off of how I'm feeling in one moment or in a few bad days. Redditor 4. So good to hear about the positives. Thank you for sharing.